The
Yeah.
final game of Wild Card Weekend just happened. The Buccaneers versus the Cowboys, and Cowboys beat them 31-14 from the beginning of the game. I mean, the Bucs just didn't feel like they were gonna have a chance. The Cowboys' offense was rolling, and they couldn't get anything going on offense. That being the Bucs, Brady was under constant pressure. But I'm here to say, I mean, Mr. Dehls, 6-0. You predicted every single wild card game right this playoffs.
Great weekend.
And I think Terrell was right about you, man. The smartest guy on the pod, the most analytical motherfucker. And he was right about
Sharp.
you.
I'm a sharp, man. Work at Boom. You know what I mean?
Picture
That's what we do at
walk.
Boom, man. You know, we make picks. Now this was a really interesting game. Joel, first of all, before I even get into my monologue, are you still sitting in the dark, lights off, head in your hands, just can't understand any of my takes, or have we overcome that?
I got up and I turned on the light.
All right, cool. Appreciate
Yeah.
that. Appreciate that.
I will say though, Dels, this after the 0-5 Jets, this was a bounce back. This was a bounce back game for you.
This is 2 years in a row. Last year I had the best playoff record. This year I'm off to a good start. And this game, I mean, this is what the Bucs are. Like this felt very much like last year's different sport Nets Celtics series, where if you pick the Nets, why are the Nets going to win? They have Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, even though everything else told you the Celtics should win. Now, obviously, the Cowboys weren't as dominant as the Celtics team, but they're the better team. They're more complete roster. McCarthy's a better coach than Todd Bowles. Like, I understand Tom Brady. He's the GOAT. He's the best to ever do it. I understand why that should put him over the top and you give him respect, but this Bucs team all season has not been good. They've not been able to run the ball. Nothing has come easy on offense, and defensively, they're not that stout defense like they have been in years past. Dallas picked them apart. I mean, Dak Prescott had a pass rating of 140. He was damn near perfect this game. And I think this was really just a microcosm of their season. We saw when they played playoff teams, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were losing games. The reason they're in the playoffs is because they're in the worst division of football, like I mentioned, with the Panthers, with an interim head coach and Sam Darnold, with the Saints, with the first-time head coach. Like, there was never any tough opponents throughout their schedule. Their tough opponents they lost to. The only playoff wins they have was against Dallas week 1 when Dak got hurt, and the Seahawks middle of the season, week 6, I want to say, something like that. And that game, or excuse me, that Seahawks team was probably the weakest playoff team out of all of them, right? They just got housed by the 49ers, although the 49ers are a great team. So this the Cowboys, they were phenomenal. They were able to run the ball with Pollard. He's by far the best running back on this team over Zeke. I know I just cut out there. And then Dak Prescott just being Dak, man. I mean, he was phenomenal today. So didn't surprise me. 6-0 feels great on divisional round.
So Dallas, are you still more scared of the Giants than Dallas, or are you flipping on that?
I still think the Giants are the better coach team. I think still, like, I understand that Dallas is more talented. I get that. But Minnesota is more talented than Giants too. So I'm still sticking by it. I think the Giants are hot. You think the Giants are more talented than Minnesota?
Offensively, the Vikings are more talented, but defensively, it's not close.
I think the Vikings have the names. They have the names.
The Vikings defense obviously isn't great, but I mean,
it has names: Zadarius Smith, Dalvin Thomas.
Yeah, the Vikings have the names. They got the names.
They have the names, but I mean, every single game
just doesn't translate.
Every offense has been putting up numbers against them, so
they got to get good.
I mean, they're just not well coached.
Score 33 points.
They're not well coached, but I don't think I don't think the gap between Brian Dable and Mike McCarthy is like the gap between Brian Dable and Ed Donatel. I think that Mike McCarthy is a really good coach. I do.
He's all right. He's not bad.
He's all right.
Yeah, I think he's all right. And this game from the beginning, I thought the Cowboys had control of it. The offense was moving outside the first drive. That's really where the only time where the Bucs had to stop. But you see their first touchdown drive. They call a cover 3 beater, Dalton Schultz on a seam route. They had 2 seams going on both sides. And Dak Prescott just moved the middle field safety to the left and threw it right to Dalton Schultz. And I thought Mike McCarthy was aggressive in all the right times. We saw the 4th and 1 call on the second touchdown drive. Instead of kicking for the field goal, and I know even at that time, Brett Maher, he had missed an extra point, so you weren't sure if he was going to make it or not. But instead of kicking the field goal on 4th and 1, you call a play action rollout for Dak Prescott. He scores on a touchdown run. And in the fourth quarter, when it was 24-6, you basically put the nail in the coffin when instead of kicking a field goal on 4th down and 4 or 4th and 6, I believe it was, you call a wheel route for CeeDee Lamb, miscommunication on the back end for the Bucs, Carlton Davis. That was probably his man. He didn't get him. It was miscommunication. And then you have his touchdown pass to CeeDee Lamb. I thought he was aggressive in all the right moments, and Dak Prescott made a lot of high-level, elite-level throws in this game. The touchdown pass to Michael Gallup was big time. There was a 3rd down, I believe in the 3rd quarter it was in the 2nd quarter, 2nd and 15 after a penalty. Dak Prescott reads cover 2 and gets a 20-yard throw to CeeDee Lamb, and he fits it in between the defender. I thought Dak Prescott was elite this game. All around, they controlled this game. They got pressure on Tom Brady constantly, and the Cowboys feel dangerous. Like, this is a great team. I think it's a great team, and the way Dan Quinn is coaching right now on the defensive side of the football, and knowing the history between Kyle Shanahan and his roots, that's a coach that's very familiar with the Shanahan offense. And if there's a guy that can have a very great game plan for it, it's Dan Quinn. So this Cowboys team, I think they're going to give the San Francisco 49ers a run for the money. We'll do our preview show on Wednesday. But the Cowboys, they made a statement tonight, and this was the most important win by Dak Prescott of his career. And he played his best game, I thought, in a meaningful moment in his career.
You can go ahead, Riv.
For me personally, I thought Mike McCarthy had a well-coached game. I thought coming into this game, there was a lot of eyes on Tom Brady, and Dehls mentioned it. A lot of people picked the Bucs because of Tom Brady. He's the GOAT, greatest quarterback ever. You thought with that type of star power, you would think, all right, at least they would make it a game, right? But to start the game, they started out slow, but it just looked like Dak and CeeDee Lamb and the boys just methodically kept breaking down the coverage of the Buccaneers. They had a lot of blown coverages. They just weren't in sync defensively, and they couldn't stop them in the pass game. It's like they knew when to run, they knew when to make throws, and it was just such a perfect game all around from Dak and Mike McCarthy. You got to give them credit. I think I agree with Joel. This team is dangerous. This team, if they continue to coach like this, if they continue to be on sync like this, if Lamb, Schultz, Gallup looked really good today, if they continue to be on point at this rate, this is a team that could give the Niners a run for their money. It could give the Eagles a run for their money because they have the talent to match up with those teams. It's just about if they can put it all together at one point. And defensively, we saw that defensive line wreak havoc on the Tampa Bay Bucs. Tom Brady had no time. They completely put pressure on them. Mike Evans cannot get open unless it was garbage time. He cannot find his range. Chris Godwin also. They pretty much played a perfect game from start to finish. So shout out to the Cowboys for getting this win. I think next week would probably be a better game because, you have the Niners, you have the Cowboys, two great teams. But for the Bucs, this is just defensively, they had no chance in this game. Offensively, they couldn't get anything going, and defensively, they couldn't get stops.
This was the one game that I definitely was torn between. I knew I got the Jaguars and Chargers game wrong, but I felt a little bit more confident in that one. This one, I was definitely my least confident, to the point where Joel is 100% right. I made my decision based on Tom Brady and Tom Brady alone. And I believed in the Cowboys, but I didn't think and I didn't trust the way that they've been playing recently, especially against the go come playoff time. I thought he would step up. Unfortunately, his guys and himself, honestly, he did not look the usual Tom Brady that we've seen come playoffs. But to talk about the Cowboys, of course, respect to them and credit to Dak Prescott, who did play basically a perfect game. In my opinion, played a perfect game. Made all the throws that he needed to make, made the correct decision at the right time every single time, it seemed like. And also a credit to the supporting cast. Dalton Schultz getting involved, almost having 100 yards. He was fantastic. Him and Dak have had a connection last year and this year. When Dak is healthy and when Dalton Schultz is healthy, it's obvious that's one of his guys. Of course, CeeDee Lamb was able to leave his impact on this game. And Tony Pollard. I love Ezekiel Elliott. I'm very vocal about this. Ezekiel Elliott's one of my favorite players, but I am so far gone with the idea that this is Tony Pollard's backfield. I'll tell you what, this blurry background is dog shit. I mean, I don't know what to do. I'd rather you
take
see.
It off.
No, I mean, it's my bullshit ass bed. I mean, I got a blanket.
Oh, it's not
here.
made.
No, I mean it is, but I just gotta fucking chuck this. Get this out of here.
It looks better like that.
Yeah, it does. Way better. I'm fucking moving here and it's glitching. I'm just like, dude, this is horrible. But regardless, this is Tony Pollard's backfield. In every aspect of the game right now, I'm taking Tony outside of pass blocking. And if you don't mention that, Zeke fans will have a stroke. Of course, when it comes to rushing, when it comes to pass catching right now, I want the ball in Tony Pollard's hands. He's been phenomenal. And in terms of the Dallas Cowboys versus the 49ers, I got to sit and evaluate because these are two really good ball clubs, but one team has been more consistent, the hotter team, and that's the San Francisco 49ers. Defensive side of the ball, they're still the best defensive team in the game. And offensively, you can say what you want about the kid, but Brock Purdy has come in and done the job more than what he's been asked to do. And this offense on all cylinders, whether it's passing, whether it's rushing, it's been amazing. And pass blocking as well. They have one of the best lines in the game, protecting the kid. Purdy's been able to be cool in the pocket and just be confident in his throws. And of course, Kyle Shanahan, who's arguably the best play caller in the game, right next to Andy Reid. It's going to be a great matchup. Definitely look forward to it. Right now, my initial gut feeling has me leaning the Niners due to how great the defense is and how consistent the offense has been, even though you would expect it not to be. I'm feeling a little bit more confident in the Niners. But those Cowboys, you can't count them out. And I've been saying that, but I counted them out, ironically, against the GOAT. And that's my fault.
You know, this game was interesting because when it started, Troy Aikman was talking about the offensive line combination of the Cowboys being different than it has all year long. They had Jason Peters at left tackle, Tyler Smith at left guard, and Tyron Smith at right tackle. And I thought that might have had an effect in the game, but it really didn't. In the first quarter, we saw the first drive by the Bucs where, Tom Brady had that shuffle pass to Chris Godwin, and you're like, maybe they get something going. They're in the red zone. And Tom Brady throws his first red zone interception in his last 419 attempts. Yeah.
They were chatting about it, bro. I was like, yo, shut up, please.
Since 2019, and that was the first Dallas takeaway. You had Dak in the second quarter complete 8 straight passes. And this is what I mean about Mike McCarthy just understanding situations. The Buccaneers had a goal line stop. It was 4th and 1. But on that drive, the Cowboys had gone 17 plays. It was an 8-minute drive, and just his aggressiveness to go for it, I thought was huge. And Dak Prescott gets in the touchdown. This game was such a blowout that these Brett Maher missed extra points didn't matter. He missed 4 extra points, and it had no effect on the game. And I talked about it earlier when I first went, but Dak Prescott, and I thought in every single situation that was big time, he was big time. Second quarter, Definitely. 3rd and 6. The Bucs played man across the board. He ran for a first down. He saw man across the board, so he knew nobody was going to spy on him. He runs for the first down. The 2nd and 15 throw to CeeDee Lamb was huge. But then on that same drive, 2nd and 4, he rolls out to his left and throws a touchdown cross body to Dalton Schultz in the end zone. I thought that was a very high level throw. And on that play, it was Tony Pollard worked to the flat. And Dalton Schultz ran a corner route to the end zone. And there was Carlton Davis, I believe it was, who really didn't know who to get. If he goes for Tony Pollard, it's a touchdown. If he goes to Dalton Schultz, Tony Pollard on the flat with nobody around him, it's a touchdown. So it was really pick your poison in that area. I just thought the Cowboys really had a perfect game plan. And I know the 49ers have been great, but I have my concerns about Brock Purdy. I do. And now they're facing a Cowboys defense that is a top 5 unit. If there is somebody that can exploit the weaknesses of the Niners offense and really force Brock Purdy out of his comfort zone, I think it's Dan Quinn. What worries me about the Cowboys defense is the rush defense. And we know that's what San Fran's going to want to do on them. So that worries me a bit, but I think in this instance, Dak Prescott is just a better quarterback, and he needs to continue this run to really earn respect on how much the Cowboys had paid him. This is his first playoff win, I believe, since getting that huge contract. And yes, you beat Tom Brady, and nobody's talking about this, but, Tom Brady's probably retiring after this season. At least I think so. I don't know if he's going to play or not. We don't know, but he's 45.
Bro, he's cooked.
This wouldn't be the first time Dak Prescott has retired a quarterback. He retired Tony Romo back in 2016 when he took his spot. So this son that Dak Prescott is used to. He's used to this. And for me, I just think that Dak Prescott has played at such a great level, and quarterbacking matters in the playoffs. And I don't know if, the Niners can overcome it against a great team like this, but it's going to be fun to see.
I got the Niners. I'm not gonna lie, real quick, Rip. I got the Niners comfortably. I gotta be honest. You guys, the Cowboys deserve credit. It's gonna be a game. I'm not gonna say it's gonna be a blowout, but I feel like we're doing a pretty big 180 on this Cowboys coaching staff. Dan Quinn, obviously well respected, but McCarthy, Kellen Mond, all of a sudden,
I'm
this
with
one
you.
game
When did we suddenly start giving them
against Todd
respect?
Bowles and Byron Leftwich, who have not been good all season. Todd Bowles should be fired, with all due respect. This team
Leftwich is already
to
gone,
go
it
out like
seems
this.
like.
Mhm.
Leftwich too, like. All of a sudden, we're doing this complete 180 on the Cowboys coaching staff.
You're not wrong on that, and I will say, I've never been horribly down on the Cowboys coaching staff. I like this Cowboys team. My reservations on the Cowboys has been mostly Dak Prescott in big time moments and big time spots, and we saw it in primetime tonight against the Bucs. But even this wasn't a tight spot because the Cowboys had to control virtually most of the game. But how do you play when you're down 17-24? Those are the moments that I'm kind of more so talking about. But Dak Prescott is just a far better quarterback than Brock Purdy. And I think Kellen Moore has this system humming. The 49ers defense is vulnerable to big time plays. I haven't made my prediction yet, but it is definitely a tough decision for me. I don't just have the Niners flat out.
In a very small sample size. And Riv, go ahead, Riv, because this is twice you wanted to speak. Go ahead.
No, because I just, I understand the quarterback gap between Dak and Brock Purdy. I understand the quarterback gap. Dak is a far better quarterback than Purdy, but like when you have yak merchants like Debo, like CMC, like Kittle, you don't need to make those type of throws sometimes because those are the players that is going to do 90% of the work. You just have to put them, you just have to hit the ball in the right spot and they're going to do 90% of the work. And I think even as great as Dallas's defense is, they don't have a lot of guys in the secondary that's going to be able to handle that at all times. I mean, we're talking about offense with CMC, Kittle, Debo, Ayuk. Like, this is a team with 4 guys that can literally break off for 40 to 50 yards at will. I don't think the quarterback matchup really matters because as great as Dak is and Purdy, he's a young guy. I feel like Dak is probably going to have to play at an extremely higher level than Purdy because of the fact that the Niners defense and the way they play as opposed to the weapons. I mean, it's just Dak, CD, and Schultz, I mean, you love Tony Pollard. Zeke is good, but in terms of like yak merchants, like the Niners.
Pollard is that.
That
is Pollard.
No, but I'm saying like
CD is that too. I mean, CD breaks a lot of stuff.
The Niners
got like 4 of them.
Yeah,
it's
levels. That's true. There's more offensive talent to the Niners. I think there's more defensive talent to the Niners as well. But we'll see. This game is, I think, being played on Saturday or Sunday, so we'll see how it goes. I'm not counting the Cowboys out. I'll give my final prediction on Wednesday. And you mentioned a great point, Dehls, in that the Tom Brady factor was a non-factor in this game, and really, the Buccaneers on offense showed us what they have been all season long. This is for people that have not watched the Bucs all season long. This is exactly how their offense has been looking, whether it's been against the Panthers, against the Saints, on that final drive against the Saints, they won on Monday Night Football, but their offense has looked like this all year long. And it's hard to just flip a switch. And we saw it this game. Tom Brady, though, is he retiring or what?
He looked bad, man.
66 passing attempts. 66.
He was short in a lot of those passes.
12 rushing attempts.
He's not retiring, in my opinion. In my opinion, the way that he walked off, the way that he was carrying himself, I think that, one, he understands that this was definitely a letdown. This is Tom Brady. He's not going to allow himself to go out like this. 2, I think he understands, we can also understand that the system that he was in this year simply was just not good enough to succeed. With all the personnel that they have on that squad, it's unacceptable that they underachieved this much. And I'm speaking strictly offensively because offensively they were underwhelming all season long. And I just believe that I can't see Tom Brady walking off the field in this embarrassing of a fashion for the last time. See it. I was able to sit here and tell you I think Tom Brady can retire after that Rams game because he left the field still the greatest to ever do it. Of course, he's still retiring that, but he showed it. He exemplified it in that game. I'm still the man. I was down 27-3. I was able to mount a comeback due to fortunate events, but still able to capitalize and put my team in a position to win. This time, it's not the same. It's clear that they were not the better team. The offense was clearly outmatched. They were out-schemed, out-dueled. and the Cowboys took advantage. I can't see Tom Brady going out like this.
Yeah, there's no doubt that I think he might not retire. Who knows with Tom Brady at this point? But their offensive system has been horrid the entire year. But I also think a lot of the problems are also because of Tom. I mean, when you get pressure on him, he can't escape out of the pocket. And in this era, you kind of need mobility, and there's just no mobility there. He's
been doing it for years. He's been doing it for years.
I mean,
never been a problem.
He's still a great quarterback. There's no doubt, but I don't know if we can just plug and play him to any system.
I think he needs a perfect
at this point.
line.
Yeah, I don't think he can just. I don't think he can go to the Raiders and now we're looking at them like serious contenders at all. I think that it's going to take a lot at this point. Tom Brady is one of those quarterbacks that you got to have the perfect situation. You plug and play him, you can win definitely. But when you're asking him to do all of these extra stuff and the offense is inept, the defense is giving up plays. I don't see that same spark.
Let me ask you, boys. Is that New York?
No, I don't think it's a Jets.
He's not going to be a Jet. There's no way.
I don't think he's a Jet.
There's no way it's going to be a Jet.
Brady going to the Jets would be a plot twist. Like
that's just some straight shit out of Madden once you sim like 15 years.
Overall, though, Dak Prescott has to continue this. This is the first win in a long playoffs, and he has to earn that contract, and he has to really make the football world respect and appreciate why he got that deal. He got that deal he got that deal knowing the Cowboys cannot surround you with the perfect cast because you're taking a large chunk of the salary cap. So that quarterback matchup you're talking about between Brock and Dak, that's why Dak gets paid $40 million to win those matchups, to win those games. And this is the playoff run because listen, one playoff win is not enough. This is one playoff win, but for somebody getting paid $40 million who has to prove his contract, this is not enough. We know he's a great quarterback. We know he's an elite quarterback for most of the time, but he has to continue this playoff run and he has to really show out these playoffs.
So because I think it's funny now, we look at the NFC. I mean, I think that you look at the NFC landscape right now. We have Brock Purdy, the last pick in the draft. We have Jalen Hurts, who at first wasn't even a starter. And then we have Dak, and then we have Daniel Jones, who was damn near not that good, and now he's pretty much elevated his career.
Well, he's the highest pick of all of them.
Yeah, so it's like we're looking at all four of them now. Dak is probably debatably, for the most part, has been the best quarterback. What if he doesn't get it done this weekend? What direction does Dallas?
He's playing against the best defense. I think that's where you could kind of.
But that's like Joel said. This is what the $40 million puts you. You get paid $40 million to put your team over games like this. And eventually, with this Dallas team, you kind of have to be the one that's like, all right, it's time. I got to put the team on my back. So if he can't do it again this year, it's like, what is that? How do they go forward with the same type of talent? Because the NFC is only going to continue to get better.
They'll go forward.
Kind of known that about Dak. Yeah, I think you've known that about Dak, that you were kind of in a situation where you have to pay him because you don't have any other better option. Like, Dak's going to win you some games, but this is where the limitations start, is in the playoffs against the best defense, against Kyle Shanahan, who's the best offensive mind. Is he going to be able to win you this game? Like, we look at Mahomes, Burrow, Herbert, like these guys, maybe not Herbert, but Mahomes, Burrow, and even Allen. Okay, we know they can do it. But when you take that tier down, which is you still pay the quarterback because there's still a top 10 quarterback any given season, that's where you start kind of having that discrepancy between the elite of the elites and guys like Dak Prescott and Kirk Cousins and Derek Carr, who are without a doubt a franchise guy. But these are the moments we're going to look at and say, this is what separates the top 3 or 4 with the rest of the league.
Dak just has to have a great game. I think even if you lose to the 49ers, you got to have a great game. That's really it.
I don't disagree. I think Dak needs to show out. And I do believe that he will play well. I understand that this Niners defense is legit. Absolutely, it's the best in the league. But Dak Prescott has been playing on a mission since he's come back from injury. And for a good portion of the season, since he's been backpacking. The defense kind of fell off a little bit. It showed out today, absolutely. But no doubt, it's been the Dak Prescott show week in, week out. He's been turning the ball over. It's been clouding people's judgment.
Finally broke his streak tonight.
Thank God. I'm very happy for that. But Dak Prescott has been phenomenal for the majority of the season since he's been back from injury. No doubt about that. He's been the Dak Prescott that I at least have known. But to talk really quick about his counterpart in Brock Purdy, I understand it's been a small sample size, and we talk about pressure and the lack of trust that there is in guys like Dak Prescott, a guy like Daniel Jones, who they just haven't been in that position lately. I understand small sample size, but against the Raiders, Purdy's back was against the wall. It was a tight game. He answered. Against Seattle, going into halftime, he was losing. You're a rookie. You're the last pick in the draft. There's pressure. You're supposed to win this game. You are losing, but to come back the way that the Niners and Brock Purdy did in the second half, I'm impressed. And there's a little bit of faith here when it comes to being in a tight game and in a high-pressure moment. I believe in Purdy. I'm not saying I don't believe in Dak. I do believe that Dak will show up to the moment. I'm just saying in terms of referencing the kid, I think that he will definitely be up to the task. And this will be a great game, not only by Purdy, but of course, the Niners as a collective.
Yeah,
Dak or Daniel Jones?
Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott.
What was the question?
Dak or Daniel Jones? Because we talked about it yesterday, but I don't remember.
I think I'll go Dak.
Drew fell.
I'll go Dak.
I know you guys were Dak. I didn't remember where Drew fell.
You know Drew going Daniel Jones?
Nah, no. It's not that simple. Why I say it's not that simple is because Daniel Jones has not had the supporting cast that Dak's had his entire career. I think what Dak has shown up until this point, yes, you have to go Dak, but that does not allow me to not see the talent that Daniel Jones has and still believe what he can be to reach that maximum potential that he can. But Dak's been showing it year in, year out. So I have to lean Dak for now, but that can definitely change if situation changes for Daniel over in New York.
When referencing the Raiders and Seahawks game versus the Raiders, I thought most of the explosive plays were generated by screen passes or yak. I didn't think that comeback was really on Brock Purdy, to be honest. I didn't.
You don't have exactly. You don't have to do too much when you're Brock.
And then versus the Seahawks, you have that forced fumble on Geno Smith. There were some throws there that got away from Brock that I don't know if the Cowboys don't. I think they capitalize on those misplays, So there's miscues there that you see that can show up in a big game like this. But, we'll see this weekend. I think it's going to be a great matchup. It's not easily Niners for me. I got to think about this. And right now, my heart, the storyline is being told with these Dallas Cowboys, and where my heart is leaning. I don't know.
But the storybook is all in the Mr. Irrelevant last pick of the draft.
That's the story.
I smell
quarterback.
That's the Cinderella story. I think this is
Riv, say that one more time.
I smell hating, man, from my boy Purdy.
Riv, this is like college basketball. This is like the sick, we know the Niners are a great team, but like the quarterback is like the 16th seed upset on the first seed, and then you kind of see, this team is having a great run. It's Cinderella.
This is the NC State run.
It's like Brock Purdy was the bench player. The star gets hurt. He subs in, has like 20 in a game, and now he's like just the starter, rolling. But Dallas is cool. It's something you got to think about.
And I just very simple for me, Joel.
Cowboys defense is not the Raiders or Seahawks defense.
No, I understand. Yeah, I understand.
You're not wrong, but it's very simple. Also, we're invested in this guy. We're not just emotionally. We're financially invested. So I don't understand this slight towards our guy Brock. He's getting us paid. He can
play well and get us paid still and lose.
Come on, bro.
Or even if he has a bad game, though, I'm not just.
We see where he's leaning.
We see where he's leaning. I want him to do well, but if I see things there potentially that. Looking back, we're going to be like, oh, yeah, it was there, but we kind of just scoffed at it.
Riv, if he wins the Super Bowl, you don't have to buy it. I'll buy it for you. You deserve that.
I'm going to say this, though. The same way how, you said it's the Seahawks and the Raiders, the Cowboys ain't that. Well, the Niners ain't the Bucs. Not even close. And it's going to be the same.
Their defense is closer to the Niners than the Cowboys.
What do you want? What do you want?
The Bucs defense has not been bad this year. The offense is putrid, but their defense has not
the best defense hands down.
No, I know.
The Niners are arguably the best team in the league. What are we doing here?
And the Seahawks were able to put up some points on them in the first half.
They beat them three times.
I know, of course, but I feel like this counting out of the Cowboys. So
I'm not counting them out.
I don't appreciate that.
I'm kind of counting them out.
I don't appreciate that.
I could see a world where Dallas wins.
So now Boom Fantasy, because we made some picks for every game. The Josh Allen interceptions did indeed hit. I believe they did indeed hit.
Yeah, two.
I don't know what else we really hit on. I know that was like the big one that I was like, I don't know if that's gonna hit, and that definitely did hit.
Did you take Riv? You took ETN.
Yes, I did take ETN.
You took his rushing yards or receiving? I don't remember.
I took his receiving yards.
I
They
think
were
he
like,
might have took both.
So
I
we
said-
hit on
I said
Herbert's over on
I said
attempts.
hammer everything over on ETN.
I think we hit.
Facts.
I think we hit on quite a couple things. So if you listen to our slip or our picks and put them into your slip, you definitely would have cashed out this weekend.
I
And Mojo,
definitely
like you mentioned, Brock Purdy's getting his paid. Getting his paid.
I was
We're
gonna
all
say
invested.
I can go. I know for a fact Kittle, he just missed it. He had 37 and the over was 41. We hit on Herbert. I hit on Joe Mixon. It was under 52.5. He had like 37 yards. The Josh Allen over interception did hit. I'm blanking on the other game that it was.
Today's game?
No, I didn't put a bet in on today's
I think
game.
I had
don't think.
Rashad White's receiving yards this game.
Oh, I will say this. I don't know like the definitive numbers in my mind, so just level with me. I remember I put $25 into Jalen Hurts and I put $25 into AJ Brown. I am at like $140 right now.
Damn.
Tough.
And I'm gonna lie. I'm staying because I'm going to the Super Bowl. So I'm gonna keep it there because it's gonna get spicy next week. We're playing the Giants, and I just got something brewing. I feel like this is just something brewing.
I got a feeling
scared?
Drew's going to come with a hot take for the Giants-Eagles preview.
Yes,
Yeah.
I respect.
I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for
It
That-
it.
shouldn't be a hot take.
That preview episode is going to be up on Wednesday. We'll be recording that and going live at 6 or 7 p.m. Eastern time. And this is going to do it for this recap of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Dallas Cowboys game. For those that listen to us on Spotify or Apple, I'm going to combine all three parts, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and put it out on the podcast platforms for you guys. And on YouTube, we have all of them under a playlist called Instant Reaction. You guys can go back and watch those. So this is going to do it. For the Cowboys
sir.
and Buccaneers reaction, Cowboys won, beat the brakes off the Buccaneers, and we'll catch you guys next time.